You already know how messy I am, but this is the next level of betrayal. Rumor has it that Kirk recently learned about a shady affair that could ruin everything. And guess who's involved? Yandy, yes, Yandy. Just when we thought the MC's Kirk candy mess couldn't get any wilder, a scandal so big and messy that it's got Kirk 3 seconds from throwing hands for real. This tea is too hot to drink slowly, so grab your popcorn because we're going to go over everything from the leaked secrets to the backstage threats that made Kirk decide to risk everything. Now, I have questions. Is Kirk really going to step to Mendeecees over this affair, or is it just an industry setup? And most importantly, how is Rashida responding to all of this? Locked in because this is the kind of drama that lovers and hip-hop fans love. This isn't just another cheating rumor. It's a full-blown betrayal, friendships collapsing, a secret so shocking that even the most unconcerned reality stars are going crazy because Kirk Frost lost it when he learned what had happened between Mendeecees and Yandy. And it wasn't just a small argument or even a small argument. Side-eye situation, Kirk was out for blood. Rumor has it that M better watch his back because Kirk is not letting the situation go. If you've been following hip-hop and love, you already know that Kirk and Rashida's marriage has been through a lot, from public humiliation to side babies. Kirk has done everything he can to undermine Rashida's trust, but she always manages to hold their relationship together. For the longest time, Kirk and Mendeecees had what you could call a respectful distance. They weren't exactly best friends, but they weren't enemies either. They were just two men in the same messy industry moving in the same messy circles, keeping their drama separate. However, this time, it's not about Kirk messing up. Rather, it's about someone doing him dirty, and that changes everything. We reasoned that since it appeared behind the scenes that Mendeecees and Yandy were becoming too close for comfort, when Kirk learned of it, chaos ensued. Before we even discuss Kirk's outburst, let's discuss what exactly triggered him, as this isn't just a minor miscommunication. Rather, it's a whole scandal that has been simmering beneath the surface for months. It all began when people noticed that Mendeecees and Yandy were. Initially, people dismissed the fact that Yandy and Mendeecees had spent more time together than usual because they had always had a business dynamic. She is the kind of person who handles her man's affairs, makes power moves, and keeps things professional. But when the streets start talking, you know something's wrong, and what they were saying during these meetings wasn't just business. If this had been anyone else, Kirk might not have given a damn. Let's face it, he has cheated before and is familiar with how these things work, but the reason Kirk went crazy over this was not just a cheating scandal. Rather, it was Mendeecees sneaking up on Kirk, getting too close to Yandy, and making moves that made everyone doubt his loyalty. The worst part is that Kirk wasn't just relying on rumors. He had evidence, and that's where things go wrong. Shocking turn because, according to sources, Kirk didn't just hear about what was going on, he actually saw it. When I told you, he took a few pictures. It seems that Kirk obtained some solid receipts, text messages, late-night phone calls, and even some cute pictures of Yandy, Mendeecees, and baby. When Kirk saw those, he was willing to risk everything. Let's stop right here because, as you already know, Kirk isn't the kind to just sit back and let. According to sources, Kirk wasted no time when he saw those messages because he has always been the type to act first and think later. When he feels disrespected, he takes it personally. He pulled up on M's without warning or a phone call, just straight up confrontation. And when I tell you that, DCs weren't prepared for it. You know how these love and hip-hop stars move, don't you? Screaming match, but when it comes to throwing hands, that's usually where they draw the line. However, Kirk was acting completely differently, as witnesses claimed that he was pacing back and forth while yelling threats, making it obvious that he knew everything. The most bizarre part is that Mendeecees was unaware that Kirk had discovered this, and this is where things get even messier because Mendeecees allegedly attempted to flip. According to the script, Kirk had no right to be upset because he had been involved in cheating scandals throughout his marriage. That was a bad idea because Kirk wasn't trying to hear it. Kirk became so agitated that security had to intervene, and He was shaken because he knew he was caught. However, just when you thought this story couldn't get any messier, it does, because while Kirk, when this part of the story came out, it completely changed everything because, according to more sources, Mies wasn't the only one sneaking around. Someone else had also been acting really funny. When Kirk found out, some things became even messier, and believe me, you're not prepared for what happened next. I was out here going crazy over Mendeecees and Yandy, and there was another name whispered in the mix. While Kirk believed he had all the answers, the drama took a turn that no one could have predicted because, in the background, someone else was making moves, and that someone was none other than Kendra Kirk. Yes, you read correctly. Kendra Kirk's supposed ally, the woman who was married to his so-called friend Mies, was not as innocent in all of this as people initially believed. Additionally, if you thought Kirk was angry when he learned what she had been up to, this next part is going to blow your mind and your pearls away. Let's stop right here because this is going to change everything. Up until this point, Kirk believed he was only dealing with a small cheating scandal, a small sneaky link situation between him and Yandy. But now this was much bigger because it wasn't just about Yandy anymore. Think about it. Kirk had been out here fighting and threatening to risk everything for Rashid's honor because he believed Yandy had done him dirty. But Kendra had been sneaking around with Mies behind Hugh's back, and worst of all, Kendra had been lying about it the entire time. It wasn't just about one betrayal, it was about multiple betrayals. And when Kirk finally put the pieces together, he realized that he had been duped. Break this down because the details in this mess are crazy. It turns out that Kendra's and M's little secret affair didn't happen overnight. According to sources, it began with lighthearted, flirtatious, and playful messages. However, things got out of hand and led to late-night meetings, private hotel reservations, business trips that weren't really about business, and when I tell you, the receipts were. We're talking about screenshots of messages where Mess was talking about how he felt stuck in his marriage and how Kendra understood him in a way Yandy never did. Kendra wasn't innocent either. She was also telling M that she had always had feelings for him and that she wished things had been different and that they shouldn't have been together a long time ago. Now imagine Kirk. Thought he had everything worked out and that only Mesoamericans were acting immorally, but now his own so-called ally was involved as well, and that was the last straw. Kirk was done being polite at this point. It wasn't just about confronting me anymore. It was about exposing everyone, and when I tell you, he went all out. He began calling people and making demands. Responses, and as you are already aware, the love and hip-hop cameras were rolling because this was reality TV gold. First, let's talk about Rashida. Now listen, Rashida has endured a lot and has supported Kirk through some of the most embarrassing moments in reality TV history. But this time was different because Kirk was the victim this time, and when Kirk sat Rashida down and told her everything, she was unable to speak. She didn't yell or throw anything. Instead, she simply sat there shaking her head because she was exhausted. However, the true question was what Kendra would say because, up until this point, she had been acting innocently, acting as though she was shocked by the drama involving Yandy and M. But when she realized that her name was going to be brought into this mess as well, she panicked, and that's where things really took a turn for the worse when Kendra tried to hide the truth by telling people that Kirk was fabricating the receipts and that he was the one pursuing her, not the other way around. However, the evidence showed otherwise, and Kirk refused to accept it, so he took out the voice recordings. Yes, you heard correctly. Kirk had audio in addition to messages. Kendra's face turned pale when she heard the recordings of her and the microphones discussing how they were going to sneak around lying to Yandy and keeping everything quiet. At this point, there was no way out. There was no talking it out, no spinning the tale, and Mendeecees was caught. Kendra was caught, and you already know what happened next on the internet. This story takes its final and most shocking turn yet when Yandy discovers the whole truth, not just about Mendeecees and Kendra, but about everything, because she did something that no one saw coming. Fans went crazy, and social media was overflowing with reactions. People were taking sides and creating memes that called Kendra the biggest liar in LHA history. Until this point, Yandy had been quietly dealing with the drama. She had seen the rumors and heard the whispers, but she hadn't spoken about it. Perhaps she thought it would blow over. Perhaps she didn't want to believe it. But when she learned the whole truth, not just about Mendeecees and Kendra, but about everything, something inside of her snapped. Trust me when I say that you're not prepared for what happened next. When Kirk pulled out those receipts, Yandy decided she was done being quiet when she saw Kendra's name all over this mess, baby. Let me tell you though, she didn't go out like a victim because, rather than crying and playing the hurt wife, Yandy did something that had everyone's mouths dropped. She flipped the script and said, "Oh, you guys want to play games? Cool, let's play." And that's when she did. She revealed his personal information before anyone else could. Yes, you heard that correctly. Before the internet could go crazy with the scandal, and before I could try to rewrite the story, Yandy went into full savage mode. On Instagram, Liv looked directly into the camera and said, "Since everyone wants to talk, let's talk. Since y'all want to be messy, let's be messy. Y'all want to hear the truth? Fine, here it is." She continued by saying that the internet was rocked and on fire because Yandy had not only confirmed the rumors, but also revealed every single unsavory detail about M's relationship with Kendra and even some secrets about Kirk that no one had anticipated. She began calmly by telling people that she had been faithful to Mendeecees for years and had supported him through all of the scandals, jail time, baby mama drama, and other things. Did she receive deceit and the ultimate betrayal in return? Then she produced screenshots, voice notes, bank statements, and actual receipts. She also named names and pinpointed the precise locations of secret meetings. She even mentioned a side chick that no one had ever heard of before. Apparently, Yandy brought a PowerPoint presentation, so she took out something that no one was prepared for, a recorded phone call, not just any. When Yandy played the call live, the internet went crazy because in the recording, he begged the mystery woman to wait a little while longer, saying he was handling things and that he was tired of acting like that. The call was between a man named D and another woman, but this woman wasn't Kendra, Yandy, or even one of the other side chicks. Looked directly at the camera and said, "Tell me, Mies, what exactly were you pretending about, because it sounds like you've been living a whole double life." At this point, Mies's name was trending globally, the memes were out of control, and fans were urging Yandy to get a divorce right away. Kirk was also shaken because, let's not forget, he believed he was the one who exposed Mies. However, the way Yandy completely turned everything upside down left him stunned. The drama between M and Kirk Frost is something straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster. If you thought the previous scandals in hip-hop and love were crazy, wait until you hear about this. It's not just a small argument. It's a full-scale war, and the internet is going crazy over it. Let's face it, Kirk Frost is no stranger to relationship drama. He has been called out, exposed, and dragged through the mud for his previous transgressions. However, this time, he is the one being played, and you all had no idea it was coming. The betrayal is deep. The lies are even deeper, and M just lit the match that will soon burn everything down. For weeks, people have been whispering about this. There was something wrong with Kirk and Kendra, and it added up. Kirk was acting like the ideal husband on Instagram, sharing those adorable couple photos as if everything was fine, but Kendra was acting strangely behind the scenes. She was constantly on her phone, getting defensive when Kirk asked where she was going, and even some of her closest friends were beginning to side-eye her. And here's the thing, M noticed it too. Let's face it, M has had his share of drama with Yandy, but he has a knack for spotting lies, and something about Kendra's behavior just didn't sit well with him. That's when the whisper began, initially consisting of small details, rumors, and theories, but then M was hit with some actual information, and let's just say he didn't keep it to himself because what? He discovered that Kendra was playing a dangerous game, and the worst part was that she wasn't playing around with a random guy, but rather with someone Kirk knew and trusted. It all came to a head one night at a private industry party in Atlanta, where everyone was well-known VIP guests. Cameras were rolling and expensive drinks were being served. Kirk entered the room feeling good, totally unaware that in a matter of minutes his entire world would collapse. Em was already there, posted up in the corner, looking irate as hell, and the moment he saw Kirk, everything changed. Kirk could feel the tension in the room, and he tried to act cool. "What's good, bro?" He wasn't smiling, though. Wasn't dapping him up. He wasn't even blinking. "And then you really came out here looking dumb, huh?" The room fell silent, and Kirk laughed a little, trying to dismiss it. "What are you even talking about, man?" I just stared at him, and then he took out his phone. "Tell me." Kirk's face changed instantly because Em wasn't just talking. He had receipts. He hit play on his phone, and then Kendra's voice suddenly filled. Kirk's expression changed from standing tall to looking like he had seen a ghost. He reached for the phone, but Em pulled it back, and he kept that same energy. By now, a few people had gathered around. The murmurs had begun, and Kirk was trying to maintain his composure, but you could see the excitement in his eyes. "I miss you, Kirk. I wish I could be with you right now." Storm building inside him, so I finally handed him his phone. "Go ahead and look through it. Read it for yourself." Kirk hesitated, but when he finally did, it felt like his entire body was frozen because of the text messages, pictures, timestamps, and the worst part, that Em wasn't even finished. "That dude she's been creeping with is closer to you than you realize." Kirk's entire expression transformed from shock to wrath to outright fury at that point, and the real mayhem began. He could feel his blood boiling and his jaw tightening as he read the text repeatedly. The reality was beginning to set in, but his mind was refusing to accept it. Spent years,